Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Sherry Schreiner. Oh, a couple things I'm going to go over tonight. I was just going to sit back and do nothing like our government's doing for months. Don't let the quiet, the calm before the storm fool you. There's things coming up and things we need to be watching. And the government may not sound like they're worried, but they're in a panic. They're in a panic. And that is why they are watching so closely. They want to hear anything, any kind of sign of the things that are coming, because they know what their own failure predictions are. They don't listen to their own people. They listen to the fathers, the ones who are tried and true and tested, and the ones they know give out legitimate information. So, I don't do this show for them. But unfortunately, a lot of them listen more than the folks do. You know what? Okay, so I did a couple shows on the coming pole flip. And I've been watching, and we are so close. You could almost hear the sizzle, you know. You could almost hear the plates warming up. Well, they already are in Yellowstone. And if you'll notice, the top half of the country, the top quarter, the northern states, the northern regions, from east to west, I'm feeling the brunt of it right now. Because like Isaiah said, the earth will rock to and fro like a drunkard, which means, yes, the poles are going to shift. And that's what I'm watching, is for the sign of the shift, because when it gets to a certain position, I know it's boom time. But their axes are also tilting. The earth is tilting forward because it's going to bow forward like a drunkard. Like a drunkard who can't stand up and he misses a step. And so the north part of the region, the planet, actually, the north part of the planet, I don't know what's going on the other side, but I can pay attention to what goes on in America. And all of the ghastly stuff is happening up there now. You know, for a while I was thinking, oh, it's just that space portal above Lake Michigan, and there's space wars coming because you know, the aliens use that portal above Michigan to come and access Earth, and so I thought there might be a lot of activity coming through there. They usually fry and die because we have so much ore going up that way to welcome them as they come through the portal. But what's happening is the Earth is bowing forward. It's bowing over. And so the northern part of the world, the regions, are starting to pick up in the winds and depths of that. Because like I said, you know, the pole flip is going to be a 7-day process. And the winds are going to be, you know, 300 miles an hour. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. But they're going to be pretty bad. They're going to be tornado winds. And so you're starting to get a feel that as things start to slip in the north, that the plates are sliding, Yellowstone's quaking, the northern states are having bad windstorms all the time. Maine had hail, or New York had hail. A lot of bad weather in Maine, northern New York, just all the way across Michigan, North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming. All the way across, folks. And I'm sure we don't even hear the half of it. And so this is the warm-up. We're just getting the warm-up. We haven't even started on dessert yet, because I have a feeling by the time it does start, it's just going to be boom, ghastly. Do you guys want in here? I locked my dogs out of my office, and they don't like it when I do that. They sit at the door and whine. Okay, so hold on a minute. They don't like this fireworks stuff. It scares them. They want me where they can see me. They have to have an eyeball on me at all times, and it makes them feel safe. All the booming outside. I like the booming outside. I think, hey, maybe the angels are blowing up some aliens. Okay, so look for severe weather. What used to be severe in the central USA, Tornado Alley, is now moving up north. It's moving that way. And the northeast part, seems like everything's swinging over. They're kind of getting the brunt of things. If you've noticed the winter storm paths, New York, upper New York, Maine, East Coast, it seems like there's just snow tornadoes going that way. They're getting the blizzards. Buffalo, New York, Maine. I think day after tomorrow, one of those movies showed New York City getting hit by a avalanche of snow. The Northeast is not going to fare well with all of this destruction. And I'm not sure it doesn't stop at the United States. I just don't know what's going on the other side of the Atlantic either. I mean, this stuff is going to be worldwide. The poles are shifting. We're going to get a magnetic reversal. And that's the one I'm watching because I can watch my trees. And when it gets to a certain tree, I know it's time for the flip. And so I'm watching it. And there's always a sign before a sign before it. Everyone's waiting for signs and signals. This is how everybody in the background works. And so when I get a sign, then I give a sign, and then somebody else gives a sign. You do things by signs because nobody works on dates and calendars and clocks and things like that. It's irrelevant in the spirit world because there's no time in any other dimension but our dimension. And so, and everything that's important going on in the background isn't really determined by this dimension. I don't even know how to describe it. Anyway, I've described in previous shows about how there are 3 groups leaving Earth. And I know the churches teach a big rapture happens and blah, blah, blah. And that's all that is blah, blah, blah. There actually are 3 groups leaving, a very small one for the first one, to kick things off. That kicks things off. And when that group leaves, then the pole flip will have. That's like a sign that here comes the pole flip. Because they will get out of here before the pole flip begins. Everybody else is subject to the pole flip. Now, the second group writes their own ticket, I guess you could say. Because, the second group, there really isn't, I'm not seeing a set time. I know there's not a set time when the first group leaves. I'm not seeing a set time when the second group leaves either. And so I think they write their own ticket. Based on their behavior and their reaction after the first group leaves, I think that determines when they leave. I'm just going to throw it out there. You know, I don't know how to describe it any other way. I think it's their basic attitudes because for so long they've been listening to sharks and snakes that when the first group leaves, will they wake up and realize? Or will they keep listening and being led by the sharks and snakes? And if that's the route they go and they want to listen to the naysayers and the haters, they'll stay for the snow flip. The pole flip. They'll stay for more refinement. They basically write their own ticket based on their attitudes. And so they could pretty much write whether they leave shortly after their first group or after the pole flip. So the first group leaves, the pole flip happens, then the Ashtar Command comes. And I've been telling you about, that's one of their names on Earth. People refer to them as the Ashtar Command, Galactic Federation. You guys hear all this New Age mumbo-jumbo. As far as some of it, I'm not going to, some of it, if you read my analysis and who I tell you they are and how I've explained this regime coming in, I've got the accurate portrayal. I know everybody says that, right? But I am Father's mouthpiece on Earth, so I would have the accurate portrayal, don't you think? So they're coming in, these I don't know what they go by, ascended masters, gurus, I have my own choice words for them all. That's the charades they play. And so that's what they're coming in as ascended masters and world teachers. The Muslim Imam, Maitreya, the economy money man, Saint Germain, the fake Jesus of Christianity. Jesus is coming, the fake one. Semiramis, Queen of Heaven, Mary, Mother of God, who is really Eve. She's coming. And Lilith, Adam's first wife, who the church still refuses to believe even exists. She's coming, and she will probably play Mary Magdalene if they can pull it off, because she has a hard time operating in this dimension. And so she will have to be able to, handle being able to live in a human body for any length of time. I know she does it. I know she operates through people. She can, especially her witches, those who are open doorways to her. I know some super soldiers she can access them, she can act through them, whatever. But I don't know what her longevity is. I don't know how long she can handle being in a human body. So she remains to be seen. But if she comes, she will play Mary Magdalene, and she will play this fake Jesus' girlfriend, because, hey, you guys can play. They tried to set that up in the Da Vinci Code, I think, with the Moravian bloodline thing, and tried to say that Jesus had children, was actually married with Mary Magdalene and had children and all this garbage. Because they're trying to set up a character for Lilith to come play as Mary Magdalene. And plus they get to deny that Yahushua died on the cross, which is another big goal of theirs. These guys have to... All right, guys, come on. These guys want to play. Come on. I'm going to have to shoot them out of here. Come on, guys. All right. That's the pit bull beating up on the shepherd. She likes to chew on his neck. All right. So where were we? So anyway, that's the setup. But these guys plan to arrive after the pole flip. After they arrive and begin their setup, their world economy, well, there's going to have to be cleaned up because at this point the planet's a mess. They will begin their regime on Earth as world teachers and saviors of mankind as they bring in all kinds of ghastly, never-before-seen plagues and diseases on the planet. Because when they arrive, you're looking at the arrival of the pale horseman and the black horseman. Remember, I've always said the fake Jesus is the pale horseman and the black horseman is Maitreya. Jesus also plays Allah, so he's kind of got like a dual role. I don't know how he's going to pull that one off, but that's what he does. He's Allah. That's what he plays in the background. So I don't know if they arrive on Earth and somebody else takes up the Allah character. Because in the background, the Capricorn Sananda ship is also Allah's, and so they share the same ship. I'm thinking it's the same being. It's the same person. So the Capricorn is a large metal shaft about 1 to 3 miles high, and it's azure blue, a sapphire blue. It's very pretty blue. And the reason it's blue is because the orgone-saturated air, when it hits that metal, it turned it blue. And so that's why I've been warning about Planet X coming in. We're looking for a red Planet X, and it has looks like it has wings because it has a red dust tail behind it. And I'm thinking it might have the same effect that it did on the Capricorn. That might turn it blue once it hits the orgone-saturated air. Because we've got henges all over this country. My goal was to put an orgone henge in every state. I know I'm not going to get that in every country, but we've got quite a bit accomplished. Enough to chase it out of here in 2012, and we had half then what we have now. The longer they wait, the more we accomplish. So, When do I think all this is going to go down? You know, I'm looking at August, folks. August and September. If we even hold out that long, because, you know, it's inching towards that tree. And if I know we're leaving before it hits that tree, that's really all I'm looking for, because you all know when we're gone, boom, the pole flip's coming. So that's really just a sign before a sign for a lot of you. Now, on the political spectrum, which is nauseating, you know, I spent years just reading up on clone Obamas. There was 12 of them, and this whole thing with Trump is getting so ridiculous. I wouldn't even bother it, because right now he's not a threat to us. He's not like an enemy to Americans or Christians. He's not a threat to us. But he's not holding all the basket either. He's not really... no one is in control of that spot, the presidency, because he's just a placeholder. And all we're seeing now is these silly clones of his. And they're just silly. I always look like, every time I see him, it feels like I'm watching a sketch on Saturday Night Live. It's just hard to take anything seriously. Nothing's going on. What bigwig has been put in jail since anything? What did draining the swamp do, besides knock out some bottom feeders at the bottom of the chains? I mean, nothing's happened. Nothing of significance has been changed. And the Christians are banging the drums. Oh, Donald Trump's God's... Which one? I don't think I know God doesn't stand up clones to speak or work for him. So, and yeah, he can use a donkey. He can use a clone. He can use anything he wants to, but he's not the one gearing and guiding things when we're in judgment and we're heading into judgment and affliction and tribulation, and he's just going to destroy this planet. So, there is a solar eclipse August 21st. They plan for a soft economic crash the end of July, Wall Street. And on August 22nd, more states defaulting and going into bankruptcy. We're just seeing several now. Minnesota, Illinois, Connecticut, New Jersey. They can't pay their Obamacare bills. And other states, blue states, will be following. And California should already be on the list. They can't even sustain their own stupidity and ignorance. Never have. The government's been propping them for years. Oh, but keep the borders open, because that's good for trafficking. You know, it has nothing to do with people getting on, you know, whatever they tell you. Don't ever believe anything they tell you on TV. You know? Mexicans should stay home. I will not be crossing the borders. You're just food. You're alien food. You're getting picked off in the deserts and put in alien prison bases. And then your children are being taken and kidnapped and used as sacrifices on satanic altars around the world. They're also being used as slaves in the sex trafficking rings. I mean, this goes on everywhere, folks. I haven't heard Trump. Whatever happened to Pizzagate? Silence. Whatever happened to maybe, you know, draining the swamp on Pedogate? What, they gave us a pizza parlor in D.C. when it's the Pentagon and the Air Force flying these children in, AFRICOM, NORTHCOM, SOUTHCOM, from everywhere, so these Satanists can rape and kill them? And Trump doesn't have a note to whistle about any of that? Drain the Pentagon. They have a huge base underneath the Pentagon where they take kids and rape and kill them. Go close that down if you want to drain the swamp. Do something that shows us you're actually serious. Because it's turning into a Saturday Night Live skit. Just every week, every day, it's something different. It's something ludicrous. Something that's a complete waste of time. Meanwhile, what they're really doing is panicking and trying to figure out the dates of the exact pole shift and Nibiru crossing. I don't know why they're even talking about Nibiru right now, because the pole shift will happen before you even see Nibiru. You don't have to see it for that to happen. When you see Nibiru, boom. When they can no longer hide it with their little chemtrail programs, boom, it's too late. It's too late. There's no saving Earth. There's no saving. You know? And don't get bought up and taken down to these underground cities and bribed and stuff, because the people in those cities are the food for the elite. Why do you think they stopped stocking up on Walmart canned goods and foods? Because they're just going to eat on humans. It's just food down there for them. And not only that, the Father already said all those underground bases and tunnels are going to be flooded out and destroyed, and people that are stuck in them are going to drown and be killed by water and by fire. You're not safe going underground. Let the elite spend their millions, and the thing is, they spend taxpayer millions, billions, on money that's literally going down the drain. And this is what they get. This is part of their judgment, because when you try to save your own life at the expense of others, you're going to face the Father's judgment. That's just bold arrogance and betrayal. A betrayal of your race, your families, the people who supported you, the people who put you in office and thought you were going to protect them. Now, if you look at Russia, they have bunkers for their people. They're building shelters for their people to survive in these coming times. What has America done? Nothing. Nothing. Not a thing. That's why America is going to be totally destroyed. Little by little. Not all at once. But eventually it will be. That's why Russia is one of these countries that makes it through the millennial reign. The judgment of the sheep and goats. The sheep and goat nations. Russia will make it through. Germany makes it through. Because no matter how evil some of their leadership has been, Lenin, he killed 40 million Christians in Russia. When it comes down to the end, that the push comes to shove, they're going to protect their people. Even Germany does. America's destroyed by fire by then. So what's that tell you? American government does nothing for its people, and instead of trying to save their people, they try to save their own hides. And they're destroyed for that. But so are the people. Because the people got no protection. Find you a cave, dig it out, stock it. When the pole flip begins, the winds are going to be so bad. Planes are just going to fall out of the sky, so hopefully all the elite are piling up on their tarmacs everywhere, and all the elite are being called to shuffled together to go to their elite bunkers, and they're just crashed out of the skies. You know? The winds are going to be bad. It's like flying in a tornado. Who do they think they're going to escape? And if they try to go on the waters, guess what? They're going to be belly up. This isn't Hollywood. They're all not going to make it to Cape Town in South Africa and wait out the destruction while everybody else suffers. They're going to be strung up. Our prayers are for their destruction, the wicked. And he's going to honor that. Once the winds begin, they're not going to slow down. There's not going to be okay, that's a warning sign. No, they're going to keep going. They're going to go all day long, and they start going to get worse in severity as time goes. The second day, the entire grids everywhere will be down. 3 days of darkness will begin on the third day. The winds will start to stop because the earth is already tilted forward. As far as it's going to go, it's going to sit there halfway bent over. It'll be pure darkness. Creatures are going to be unleashed everywhere. And they're already starting to come out of the abyss. People are getting these ancient pictures of those ancient dinosaur bird type things. Because I think what's happening is, as the plates shift over by Yellowstone, these creatures are coming out of the earth, they're getting out. And that's exactly what the Father said. He said creatures are going to be unleashed on the earth from the abyss. So then we got 3 days of darkness where the Father is saying, stay home, stay in your homes, don't go anywhere, stay in your homes. Because these creatures everywhere, millions of them, destroying and killing people for 3 days, that is the wrath of the Father on the wicked. Then the light returns and the earth starts to stand itself back up, shift back up, and the 6th day will be windy, and the 7th day, when it is completely stood back up on its where it's supposed to be, its positioning, the light will be returned, the winds will stop. 7 days, folks. So for 7 days, basically, you need to stay in your homes if you're smart. I don't know where you're going to go when it's windy, let alone when it's pitch black. But there's always idiots. Especially if you're in the city. I mean, it's going to be, if you're caught in a city at this time, there's going to be no electric, there's going to be no, the sanitary conditions are going to be horrendous. There's not going to be much warning when the winds start. And if you do plan to leave, it's going to be pretty windy. Your leaving may be hindered. If you're planning to cross the country to get to a safe haven, when you see the first group on Earth leave, that is your sign to bunker down. The pole flip's coming. So if you're in a city, get out of it. Because you're not going to last in a 1 2-bedroom apartment, 1 bathroom with no running water. You're not going to make it. You'll be out of there in 1 day. And don't think if you go down to the south of the country, it's safer than, you can be safe anywhere. Find you a mountain. Isn't that what the Father always says? Head for the mountains. For the mountains. And then you got to watch for the falling trees. But there's caves in the mountains. Valleys are good, too. I like valleys. Or you can put chariots of angels around you. Protect you if you're in a valley. Boom. I don't know if the solar eclipse on August 21st has anything to do with anything. It's amusing. It's a sign. I mean, you can correlate it with, oh, look, the 6th seal. The sun's turned to darkness. That's a solar eclipse. Yeah, you can equate it to that. Will the 6th seal correlate with the pole flip? I don't know. I wouldn't discount it. Can't discount it. There's going to be earthquakes. And the 6th seal is a worldwide earthquake. And now how does that affect America? That's the Madrid fault line earthquake. That's the one they're talking about. That comes over from the Great Lakes all the way down to the Gulf Coast and destroys all those states from north to south in between. That's the one on the map, the scary map where they show Wisconsin drowned and Minnesota or Michigan gone and all this. It's gonna just take out the top northern part of Ohio, all the way over to Missouri that way, Toledo that way. Chicago's gonna go under. I saw that go under years ago, underneath Lake Michigan, and it's gonna what do they predict, about 50 miles to 100 miles widening of the Mississippi River at that point. And they claim the epicenter would be in St. Louis, Missouri, right there at that arch. I don't know if any of y'all have ever been there. That arch, it's kind of cool there. That's the Mississippi right there. And so that's pretty much where they say the waters from the Great Lakes are going to come all the way over to St. Louis right there, and then head all the way down to the Gulf Coast. It's going to take out a huge chunk of Missouri and the northeast part of Arkansas and Tennessee on the way down there. Nashville will be underwater, destroyed by the water, all the way down to the Gulf Coast there. So that could happen during the pole flip. And then imagine all this chaos while it's darkness. The grids are down. There's no electric, there's no light, there's no sunlight, there's no moonlight, there's nothing. It's 3 days of darkness. Yeah, that could happen. And the coastlines pounded by the thrashing of waves and tidal waves, probably 10 to 20 miles inland. This isn't the huge, scary one where the Pacific goes all the way up to Nevada or Utah. That's when the That'll happen when the asteroid hits over there by Indonesia. So it starts with a bang. A lot of destruction, formidable, but you know what? It's going to get a lot worse when the asteroid hits in the South Pacific and the comet hits in the Atlantic, and that's coming up after the pole flip. Get away from the water. Get inland. Get inland. The mountains. You got the Rocky Mountains, the Smoky Mountains, the Appalachian Mountains. You also got the inner states. What is that? Nebraska, South Dakota, Iowa. Those states are kind of like out in nowhere. There's nothing near them. There's no water. But they're getting kind of the brunt of the changing jet streams. Anyway, these things are coming up. Looking at a possible Wall Street economic crash end of July. Government shutdown maybe end of August. Maybe more like a state of emergency in the general states, because after the pole flip, who's going to be able to? Of course, there's going to be an economic crash. No one's going to be able to afford anything to fix anything. The whole world is like, what, 218 trillion in debt, but that's just a number on a computer screen? Delete and start over at zeros? Isn't that the way it works? We don't owe the people who stole the money from us a dime. Any of them are lucky to still be alive. And probably after the pole flip, they probably won't be. But a lot of them will probably take UFOs off the Earth if that's allowed, which I don't know if the Father will allow it. So, yeah, they figure they can go up to the space station or something and hang out on one of their deep space platforms or whatever. Those can be destroyed too, because you made a lot of enemies around the universe, not just on Earth. If you didn't want to deal with me on Earth, wait till I'm in space. Wait till I have access to all of space. When I go home to heaven, I'm going to have access everywhere. If you couldn't run from me far enough, fast enough on Earth, you're not going to be able to escape me there, because that's my turf. So it's going to get fun, folks. It's going to get fun. Even through all the destruction, keep your eyes on the Father, because only through Him we can survive through anything anyway. Pray to escape all these things. That's what He says to do. Pray to escape all these things. And then listen to the things He tells you to do and how you can escape them. Get out of your apostasies. Because that's the biggest reason a lot of people are being left here and refined. Because of their apostasies. Idolatries, idol worships. You couldn't get it right. Anyway. What to do with your money? Because if there's going to be a global RV at any juncture, which is one of the bribes, they're telling you to buy silver and gold. Why? Why? Do you think you're going to have a retirement plan here on Earth with all the destructions coming? I would be buying stuff. If for no other reason, I would be storing it and hoarding it places. Food, water, medicine, tents, things you can survive with in severe weather. Because the time is coming when there's going to be nothing to buy. There's going to be no stores. There's going to be nothing to buy. So what's all your money going to do you? But you can feed a lot of hungry people. You can give them a couple bucks and let them feed themselves. You could do some good works here on Earth. Spread the love around. You can't take it with you. You came in this world with nothing, and you're going to leave with nothing. There's going to be no willing estates and trusts and blah, blah, blah. To what? To who? We're heading into a time where 2/3 of the population on this planet is going to die from plagues, wars, pestilences. So life as you know it is pretty much going to stop at the pole flip. It will never recover. It will never be the same, especially after the ash turds arrive, because their presence on Earth, the Earth itself, will vomit at their appearance and arrival here. Anyway, folks, I will be back on Wednesday at noon. Till then, everybody, don't forget to support this ministry. Favorite ministry on the planet, the most effective. God bless. Till Wednesday. See you then, everybody.